past weekend. Won 3 out of 4 now. First conference series went on the road, and you did it by scoring 15 of your 20 runs scored came with 2 outs. So let's talk about that series win over Abilene.
Yeah. First of all, that's a tough place to play. And I say that you could look at their, what their record is at home. Some of it has to do with I'm sure it has something to do with the travel when you have to go that far. I just got off the bus and came straight here. So no kidding. We got in last night about 2:30. So the guys are gonna get a couple of days off to recover from that. And then they're a good club. They're a really good club. Coach McCarty's done a great job with them. He inherited some really good talent, and I was pleased with our guys because I thought there was a few times, especially on Sunday, we probably could have scored a few more runs and could have broken the game open. Just the way that the field is oriented with the south wind was kind of blowing in. I thought it kept a few balls in the ballpark, and it became one of those who can collect the most hits and not make any mistakes. And we battled back, and it wasn't exactly the way we wanted to do it from a bullpen standpoint. The bullpen's been so good. If you kind of go back in and just look, especially throughout the conference, how well that Peyton McLemore, Will Dion, Aiden Anderson done. They didn't have their best day, but I thought the offense picked them up. I thought they battled back without their best stuff. And to battle back from a Friday night loss, and for Rhett Deaton to do what he did, offense to pick us up, I was really proud of the guys and what they did. That was certainly not easy, in what they did. It's one of those things. Of course, it's kind of just the state of being a little bit further away, the game's not being on TV, and it's one of those things. I wish I could give you the best picture of the way that of our team. We've been on the road for 4 out of the last 5 weeks, and I feel like our teams would forget what our kids look like and how they are, but the personality of our team and how they played. I can't say enough about them and how much they've traveled and what they've done, what they've been through. They've responded from a really, really challenging. We got swept at home against Incarnate Word, against a team that's shown us really good, and have handled themselves 4 out of the last 5 weekends, and not exactly the way we wanted to, but finding a way even to scratch a game with not playing our best, and finding a way to win a series, and to just kind of put ourselves in a situation. I'm excited to be home. I'm excited for our guys to get a chance to be home. We got one more road game against Southeastern on Wednesday before we get a little bit of a stretch at home. But I mean, I'm really hoping the weather cooperates, and I'm going to make sure to do what I can to get the word out for our community and our fans to be able to see our guys, and because they've earned the right to play in front of a big crowd, because they're playing a really good team in Stephen F. this weekend, who's shown to play really well in conference, in Corpus the next weekend, and man, I just enjoy being around this team, to do some things that they've done this year. If you look, and I know they had the question last week about trying to give a guy a day off. If you go in and look at Nate Fisbeck, Carson Maxwell, and Reed Bork haven't had a day off all year. Jake Dickerson has had 1 day off. Shane Selman's had the only 2 times he was out was from an injury, and Clayton Raspberry, he was only out 1 day. They're a bunch of warriors, and what they've been through, how they've continued to stay, how they've continued to find a way to stay healthy. That's a credit to our Kate Pinkerton and Coach Earl Hamilton for being able to keep them healthy. That's hard to do in baseball, especially considering they got finals this week, and it's going to be what they've done at this point is really, really impressive. And I'm looking forward to the stretch run. They put themselves in a situation where they can be successful, and it was a good week for the Cowboys, and I expect a good week coming up.
The next 2 weekends are at home. You said Stephen F. Austin and Corpus, trying to get the fans out. There is a schedule change on those Saturdays,
yes,
moving to 6 o'clock. Kind of talk about that.
Yeah, one of the things that we wanted to do was try to avoid the heat as much as we could, and quite honestly, it's a little bit of a test run to see if that's something we want to do with a 6 o'clock start once the time changes, just to see if it'd be more beneficial for the fans. I know that if you kind of look at our fans and a lot of people that come, there's a lot of families that come out, a lot of kids that come out, and we know that they've got games usually throughout the day on a Saturday, and so we want to provide them an opportunity to be able to come out on Saturday and a little bit later, because they always seem to come out on a Sunday, they seem to come out on a Friday, but sometimes we miss those families and stuff on a Saturday, so we want to try to provide them an opportunity to be able to do that. Kind of a test run over the next couple weekends. Hopefully the weather will cooperate and see if it'd be beneficial for our fans in doing that, and see if we'll make that a permanent move for the next year. We thought, hey, well, what's better than the last couple weekends? Be able to have plenty of time to get the word out, and plus, having the turf helps, just in case there's a threat of weather, things like that. You can move the game up if there's something like that, but. We wanted to see if that would be a beneficial thing for us. Anything that we can do to make it, more advantageous for our fans to be able to attend, because we know once it gets into May, it gets hot around here, and avoiding the heat, certainly makes for a bigger crowd sometimes.
And then last one for me, let's talk about the conference itself and how close this league really is from top to bottom.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of felt that way when you saw how well that Incarnate Word played against us. That weekend they just outplayed us, and we didn't necessarily play bad that weekend. They outplayed us, and you had a feeling it was going to be good. You got your teams that have consistently been good, over the past 4 or 5 years, and teams you're getting to see, and man. I think it really flipped. You saw when Sam Houston gets swept at Central Arkansas. I don't know if that knocked him out of the opportunity for an at-large bid. I really hope it didn't, but you just never know how the NCAA committee is going to see that. But I mean, to see as close as it is from top to bottom, I think 5 games separate first and 10th, and never seen that this late in the season. I think you've got 2 teams tied for first, and you've got 3 teams tied for what would be third, and then you're right there with a lot of things. And so it's going to come down not only the last weekend but the last day. Unfortunately, some tie-breaking procedures will probably come into play, and but it's a. I don't think our league gets enough credit, and that's unfortunate. I don't know exactly how the RPI works. I do know that I know on the field that our league is taking really good care of themselves in non-conference play, especially because they've always had to go on the road to the SEC and the Big 12 programs, and they've taken care of business. Probably one of the best records that our league's ever had. And so I don't think we get enough credit from a number standpoint. I think we got plenty of credit, plenty of respect across the country. But I would put our league up against any other mid-major league for sure.
Coach, last week you mentioned 15 wins you believe being the benchmark to be able to get into the Southland Conference tournament, and you got 2 out of 3. You got the tiebreaker on Abilene, and then you're a game behind Nichols for that last spot. So basically, how do you feel right now as far as where you are in the standings?
Well, I mean, I think after winning the 2 out of 3, like you said, getting that tiebreaker, you feel better about it. We still have plenty of work to do, and it's not exactly where we want to be, but as long as there's breath in us, I mean, we're going to keep fighting, and it's feel fine, to be honest with you. Feel it's trying to directly answer the question, feel fine, but I think we've got a goal in front of us to find a way to make the tournament, and 15, like I said, 15 usually does it, and we've got an opportunity to do that with 2 series at home and 1 on the road, but it's I don't know, I'm probably a little road weary, as far as, answering that question, but it's right there in front of us, and I know our guys will be excited to go, play again this weekend.
On Friday, Peyton went, I believe, 0 for 4, but Saturday, Sunday, I mean, it seemed like he hit everything that was pitched to him. So just what did you think about his big performance? You put him in the leadoff spot, and he responded pretty well.
Yeah, I think we put him in the leadoff. I think it was Wednesday against Louisiana Tech, and he's just a bundle of dynamite up there. He's got some surprising power for a little guy. I say surprising; it's kind of surprised the other team more than it does us, and because he hit a ball to the left fielder this weekend when they were trying to play in instead of him dumping the ball over, and got great bat to ball skills. And when he learns how to truly use all the tools that he has, and that's just going to come from experience and reps and game opportunities. He's got a chance to be a special player, and a guy that has a chance to make money playing baseball. And but I mean, he's just a stick of dynamite up there, and I think it showed on Sunday when they had. I think Julian was on second base when they walked him to get the fizz back. One of the guys, I think got the third most RBIs on the team to face him. So of course Fizz makes him pay on that one, but I mean, he was hot, and it just kind of shows the respect that he had in the weekend. And we kind of knew that, once you kind of saw how he was once he got on campus, that was in there. The guy's competitive. The guy is extremely competitive, and and he fits right in with the team, and he's I'm glad he's on our side.
You made the change for the pitching this last weekend. You put Kane on Friday. I guess, how do you think? I mean, it worked as far as you won 2 out of 3. But how do you feel it worked from a pitching standpoint, and will you stay with that this weekend?
Well, I mean, I'll just be real authentic with you. I thought that would be a good change for Kane Eckert, and it didn't work out. It did not work out. Kane Eckert's got some of the best stuff on our team, and it has not played out in games. He's either had some opportunities where he's walked some guys and not giving up runs, or he hasn't walked guys and given up a lot of hits. And the law of average say that's going to change, and it just didn't happen to work this weekend. So we're going to see how Rhett Deaton comes back after a complete game. If he's ready to go Friday, he'll probably go on Friday, and I'm probably going to go TBA the rest of the time and see the matchup. Jonathan Elson's got some of the best stuff on the team, and he's kind of had some. The times he's pitched really well, he's had some tough luck not getting any offensive support, and when he has gotten some offensive support, he's kind of been his own worst enemy. And so it's just one of those. We're going to see what's going to be the best. I mean, that could be Brad Kincaid, could be pulling one of those guys out of the bullpen to make a start. That's just being real and authentic with you, because we've shown the ability to be really good and really dominant. If you look at our conference numbers, I think there's a grand total. I think we've got 60 innings somewhere between Dion, McLemore, and Aiden from the conference numbers, and I think between them they have 8 walks, and they've got somewhere around 80 punch outs between them. So to take that out, man, that would be a hard decision, because a lot of the games we've won because of them, and I have a hard time going away from a core principle of mine is having a really strong bullpen. But if that's what we got to do, maybe that means sliding Ellie in the bullpen, maybe it's sliding Eckert in the bullpen. We're going to see, and some of it's going to be just gut decisions on those things. And it's not something you necessarily like to do, especially this late in the year. You would hope some guys would establish themselves a little bit better. But every time that those guys have been challenged, just from maybe not having their best game, they've always responded really well. So, but they're big boys. They put themselves in the situation, and they'll be ready when they get the opportunity.